What a strange episode. I bet you hear that a lot when it comes on to Dandadan. But no, for real. A secret love interest, talk about balls and wieners, and then a freaking kaiju attack. Need I say more? But I know what's the real question on your mind. What did this episode do differently from its manga counterpart? Let's find out. This week's Dandadan episode is titled The Secret Art of Being Attractive, and it adapted 3 manga chapters, 64 to 66. Well, I should say about 2.5 because it only adapted a few pages of the last chapter, which is 66. But in all, that's about 45 pages with just as much panels to match. It's very interesting to see the manga take a different route than they normally do when it comes down to these episodes. But this episode introduces us to another member of the gang, another weirdo that's from Okarun's class, Kinta, who's into sci-fi but can't figure out why a loser like Okarun even gets all the girls. But before all this, we are introduced to him and what kind of person he is. We see his morning routine. We also see him kind of stalking Okarun and Momo-san, which now that I think back at it, it was a really long time ago when they just started interacting for the very first time. And Kinta was actually there, though if you probably watch the episodes again, you won't see him. But in case you were wondering, these were all anime exclusive scenes. Well, they're certainly not in the manga chapters that this episode is based on, right up to when he starts talking to Okarun. And honestly, this dude's pretty funny. He's pretty hilarious, a bit crazy and all over the place. Perfect for our little gang, right? I wonder what superpowers he'll gain. I find it pretty funny that in this episode, another girl is fighting Momo over Okarun because she believes that Okarun is too shy and kind to say no to Momo, who's just a brute and seen as a bully. Yet, she's one of the prettiest and most attractive girls in the school, and is pretty much liked by every guy out there. Meanwhile, we get reminded that people treat Okarun like he's absolute dirt, or even worse than that. So I found it pretty funny that this girl comes to his defense, but he's just too timid to break them up. So Kinta has to intervene, and as per usual, he breaks them up in the weirdest of ways, by saying some pervy shit, and then getting dunked on. Come on girls, I think he makes a valid point here. Let's talk about wieners. I've got a few questions as it relates to this golden ball and this goddamn kaiju. I mean, it's a supernatural creature, right? Maybe it's alien, but it has a physical form. So how then can it fly when it's invisible? And then all of a sudden become a giant kaiju hundreds of feet tall when it becomes visible. The math just ain't mathing. 2 plus 2 does not equal 6 here. At any rate, what a spectacular use of powers from Momo. Oh yeah, Okarun did a few things too, and Kinta did a few things. Speaking of Kinta, instead of being scared like any reasonable person would be, he stepped up to the plate and helped them to take down this weird monster. And does anyone find this prehistoric supernatural lizard kinda cute? No? Just me? As per usual, Dandadan sticks very close to its manga counterpart. Not much changed other than those anime exclusive scenes that were added during the first part of this episode. Thank you again for another week of a great Dandadan team. It's been awesome. I've been out of internet for a few days, so I kind of recorded this after watching the episode on Crunchyroll instead of what I normally do. But once I get the episode in my hands, I'll be able to, do the usual mix and matching for whatever I'm saying to be shown on the screen. At any rate, I really hope you guys enjoy, and let me know what your favorite part of this episode is. Leave a like, comment, and a subscribe on your way out. I've been your host, Kyle. Peace out. Stay safe out there, V Nation. Bye.